and welcome to the Safe Scene and Stretch book study. I'm author Schmidt Hasson, and this week we're unpacking Chapter 5, Lessons on Expectations. When it comes to teacher expectations, our actions speak so much louder than our words. Our students are always watching us and making inferences about what we believe. What we do communicates what we believe about them, what we believe about their abilities. Our actions and interactions in the classroom are driven by our beliefs, but they also start to influence what students come to believe about themselves. There's so much power in expectations. Let's talk about it. Teacher expectations can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. What we believe about our students drives the instructional choices we make and the way we interact with them. And that in turn influences what they come to believe about themselves. If we believe our students are capable of doing challenging work, then we will assign them challenging tasks. They will start to see themselves as the kind of students who are capable of that, as the smart kids. There's such a beautiful example of this in Chapter 5 when I went to collect data at a farmer's market, and I met Lisa, who told me about her teacher, Mrs. Grisham. Lisa grew up in this rural community. Kids rarely left that community. Most of them went into farming like their parents, but they just didn't really see any other possibilities for their lives. Mrs. Grisham often talked to them about what they might want to be when they grew up, and she would start to call them by the roles they dreamed of having. Lisa the teacher, Daniel the doctor, whatever they imagined for their lives, she started to speak to them in ways that made that a real possibility for them. Lisa said she believes in them, and so they came to believe in themselves. The words we say and the things we do communicate our expectations and have great power in the classroom. There's probably nothing that communicates our expectations more clearly than our instructional choices in the classroom. Our students are always watching to assess their own ability based on the choices we make. They're always trying to see where they rank among their peers based on the kinds of assignments we give them, the way we interact with them. And if we give them challenging assignments, what we're saying to them is you are capable of doing this challenging work. And they may need some support to do it, but the fact that they're getting that kind of assignment speaks powerfully to them. The way we group them, they're pretty savvy. They know what group they're in. The kind of feedback we give them, really it's the effort we put into teaching them. When they assess that we've put in effort, they start to see themselves as the kind of students worthy of our effort. I saw an example of this that I shared in Chapter 5 when I was visiting an elementary school. I was in a third grade classroom, and this great teacher was teaching a science lesson. She was asking some beautiful higher order questions about gravity. She had the can with the popsicle sticks so that she could randomly call on a student. And I could tell the minute she pulled the stick that she wished she hadn't pulled that student's name for that question, especially with me in the classroom. So she asked the question again. He looked blank for a minute, and she very quickly said, "Do you want to phone a friend?" He said yes, called on the friend. The friend provided the answer, and they moved on. But during independent time, I was sitting near him, and I said, "Hey, tell me about phone a friend. I don't know what that is." And he said something I'll never forget. He said, "She doesn't let the smart kids phone a friend." So I stuck around. She was teaching math after. Again, she was asking beautiful higher order questions. And with some students, when they didn't get it right away, she would restate the question. She would scaffold and probe a bit until they reached the answer. And with some kids, it was very quickly, "Do you want to phone a friend?" What she was unintentionally saying to these kids was, "You're just not smart enough to answer this hard question." And I know she was not doing that with anything but lovely, kind intentions. She was trying to save them from discomfort, probably trying to save herself from some discomfort, and in the end, really doing some harm by communicating to kids, "Yeah, you're going to need someone else to help you answer this question." So I think it behooves us to really consider the instructional choices we're making in the classroom and really think about them from a student's point of view. What might we be saying to our students by the things that we do, by the choices that we make, by the way we interact with them in the classroom? Our expectations influence our students' levels of competence and confidence, and those two things are interrelated. The more we help students grow in competence and skills, the more confident they will become in their ability. And as they become more confident, they will start to apply effort, to take risks, to do the things they need to do to grow those skills and competence. So, greater competence leads to greater confidence. Greater confidence leads to greater competence. And the things we say and do in the classrooms, the choices we make, the way we interact, has everything to do with students' beliefs about themselves. Never underestimate the power of your own expectations and the way what you believe influences what kids start to believe. Stick around because coming up we have reflection question 1. Reflection question 1. How did you assess your ability or your smartness when you were a kid? What kinds of clues did you find in the classroom that formed your beliefs about the kind of student you were? Pause the video if you need to, reflect and take some notes. We'll be right back with reflection question 2. Reflection question 2. Think about the instructional choices you're making regularly in your classroom. How are you grouping kids? What kinds of assignments are you giving? What kinds of feedback are you giving? How are you asking questions, responding to kids' answers? Think about all of those things and think about them from a student's point of view. What might your students be inferring from the instructional choices you are regularly making in the classroom? Pause the video if you need to. Coming up, this week's challenge. This week, try viewing everyone in your care as gifted. We often give people labeled as gifted with more challenge and choice and autonomy. Couldn't we all benefit from a greater degree of challenge, choice, and autonomy? See how people respond. Chances are they'll rise to your expectations. Thank you for watching. Thank you for reading Safe, Seen, and Stretched. We'll see you next week for Chapter 6.
Don't miss any of our upcoming content. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. And we'd love it if you'd head over to Amazon and leave a review of Safe, Seen, and Stretched in the Classroom. It will help other readers find the book.